Finally. Double check if we are. I can't check because I've got the...
Yes, we are.
Okay. So I guess I'll take it. Oh, you can do it. We literally don't know why, because the reason we thought it wasn't.
And no one was able to hear me. Never mind. Welcome to WrestleVision Live. March 2nd. We're a bit late. Some technical difficulties, but yeah, we're here.
That's all that matters. We're here to do the damn thing.
Yep. Connell, you have the agenda. What do we have?
Okay, so obviously, if we're ready to go, just jump straight into it. Top of the list, we have big news story coming out of Monday Night Raw. Main event was, of course, Ric Flair's birthday celebration, which I know our pal Dan was so looking forward to. But things didn't really turn out too great for the Nature Boy because he was coming out, but he was viciously attacked by a returning Dave Batista.
Huh?
Been heavily speculated since the SmackDown 1000 show where he had that segment with Triple H. They thought they were going to have their match at WrestleMania, and now he's here, and it's expected to be announced on Raw, literally in a couple of days. There'll be an official Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania. Thoughts on the return of Big Dave?
Yeah, well, they set this up like at the end of the show, the birthday party for Ric Flair, and then Ric Flair didn't come out. Triple H announced him and was like all happy that Rick, his best friend in the world, besides HBK, was there. And well, we didn't see Ric Flair, and the camera went backstage, and we saw Big Dave Batista getting into Ric Flair's room and like pulling him out of his room, knocked out, and then he asked Triple H if he got his attention now, and it's the now infamous Hall. And yeah, I really liked it because of the heavy rumors that he probably will be there. I wasn't that much surprised, but he got a great reaction, and they try to make it seem like pretty natural because Batista is a great actor, character actor, and he pulled a cameraman, so it's not, it doesn't look that fake.
It was all being filmed.
Yeah. Yes, that was pretty well done, and well, then they had Triple H running backstage, and well, it seemed like pretty hostile, and that was probably the only good thing about the show. And I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to the match itself because I think it will be the perfect conclusion to the career of the Animal Batista.
Agreed.
I just think it's odd that they're positioning him as the heel.
I don't.
Because, like, if he's going to get the big welcome back because he's been away for so long.
Yeah, but it's like the way they might build it, and it seems like this. He wanted to return, he wanted to be there, but Hunter didn't acknowledge him, didn't call him, whatever, and then he just took his spot. He just, like, so it's not like heel in that sense, but he just took what he wants. I don't really call it a heel, really, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let's face it, after the WrestleMania match, both will shake hands and hug, and the Ric Flair attack will just never have happened.
Yeah.
I think it's just...
It was a long time coming. People knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. I like the way it happened, and that's the main thing, I think. the most important one.
Yeah, and I'm Batista. His 2013 run, it was a crime, and Batista was actually the first wrestler I've ever known, and so I'm always happy to see Big Dave back.
Yes. I just thought of Dave Meltzer. I don't know why. I'm sorry.
The bigger Dave. He's not Big Dave. He's the bigger Dave.
We all said our piece on Big Dave.
Talking about big things. Let's talk about big.
Yes. Speaking of Big Dave's 2014 run, where he won the Royal Rumble, where nobody really wanted him to. The person he last eliminated in that match was none other than Roman Reigns, who was announced last October that he was going to be leaving. He vacated the Universal title, and he was leaving to go and treat leukemia that he flagged up for the second time. But in a strange twist of fate, this last Monday, Joe, the real man, came out and announced he's now in remission.
Which can mean two things. It could mean either his cancer is completely gone or it's partially gone.
So it's partially gone because in remission.
Yeah, it's partial remission and full remission. He didn't say which one, so it could be both. We don't know. I think it's great that he's back. It's always I mean, even if I don't like him as a character, I can respect him as a man, and see someone having cancer or any type of illness that prevents him from doing what he loves just sucks. So I think it's great to have him back. I hope they book him a bit different this time and don't push him down our throats.
I would do like a sort of redemption, not full redemption obviously, but have him obviously lose a couple of times. Now he's back, but he come back, and like he can have the excuse of him not being back to his best, blah blah blah, and then he can work his way back up. Maybe, God forbid, win the Royal Rumble next year. But I'm partially to believe that it probably is fully gone, because the rumors are now that he may actually team with either just Dean and Seth against Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre, or them three with Braun Strowman against Corbin, Lashley, Drew, and Elias, because Elias randomly seemed to get involved in that storyline this week, out of nowhere, conveniently when a fourth babyface was now involved in. So I'm probably going to believe that will either be the match at Fastlane, or I'd be inclined to believe that they might actually do that at WrestleMania with Seth pulling double duty.
I hope not. Well, I'm also happy that Roman Reigns is back very much. I totally agree with everything that Jan has said. I don't like his character, but I respect the man. And well, I would like to see more in singles competition now, not in the Shield reunion once again, because
I just think the Shield reunion thing is going to be the short-term thing.
I think it's like many people said, it's just for him to get back into the
and they can ease him back in as well.
Yeah, right. I think that's the reason why they do it. So
yes, I see that, but they don't have any opponents, and I hate this combination of Lashley, Elias, Corbin, and McIntyre out of all people. That's like the fourth or fifth time that it tried to chuck in some random mid-card heels to create some opposition for the Shield, and it's like I hate it so much. There's nothing more in WWE that I hate, because it's so flat and boring. And I wish, for that reason only, I kind of wish we would already be at WrestleMania and not get this match, because it's most definitely going to happen at Fastlane. And I will tell you, I will probably fall to sleep when this match is going on, because
break match.
Yeah.
If the question is if they do the match at Fastlane, what is the Mania match?
Yes, I don't believe that Roman Reigns is going to have a Mania match. I see Roman Reigns at ringside for Seth Rollins match at.
See, I can see him
they gonna pull a WrestleMania 9.
No.
I think you guys know which situation I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
I
can
honestly
kind
don't
of
think
see
about
them.
that.
I
A
don't.
lot of people online are worried that he's going to be either added to or replace Seth in that match. I really wouldn't worry about that.
I think they're going to pull a Mania 9. I think that.
Oh my God. And Hulk Hogan is the one who makes the decision.
I mean, I can't rule it out, but I don't think they will. But it's something that could happen, but I don't think it will.
They are going to have a Money in the Bank match at Fastlane, and Roman is going to win it. So he can
cash in during the match and pin Seth.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, let's Ric Flair.
Ric Flair. Speaking of Ric Flair, he is Kevin Owens on SmackDown.
I think Ric Flair wrestled Steve Austin once, and someone on SmackDown used a move from Steve Austin, and that is Kevin Owens, who returned Tuesday.
Yeah, Ric Flair backstage on Raw. Speaking of old men getting attacked, Vince was attacked like a year or so ago by Kevin Owens, who is back now. And he opened up SmackDown with said old man, Vince, coming out and saying that Kofi didn't deserve the title shot that he'd earned at Fastlane, and he was being replaced by Kevin Owens.
Who hasn't had a match since ages, and now he has a Mania match. Fastlane match.
People are getting angry at this, naturally, as wrestling fans do, but they don't have a long-term vision because obviously Kofi's going to get the Mania match.
Which I think is way better, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't like how they go about it, but I think it's better for him to have the Mania match and win the title there. That would be so awesome.
I doubt that this is going to happen. No, I doubt. I've been watching WWE for too long to see that happening. Kofi will get a United States title shot or something, but he will not get another shot for the WWE Championship and especially not at WrestleMania. That's just not how Vince McMahon does it. He's not winning the title or having a match at WrestleMania.
But we can dream, okay? Let us dream.
I think he's getting a title shot. It might be a triple threat, Bryan, Owens, and Kofi.
Yeah, or Cena.
No matter what, I don't think Bryan's dropping at Mania against anybody.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was left a bit shaky after the first segment because they were running the vignettes with Owens about him being a babyface family man. But he came off very heelish in that action, because he did team Kofi in the main event.
But he wouldn't. Sorry to interrupt. But he wouldn't stop praising Kofi, and that he definitely
definitely still a baby. He is a babyface because he did team with Kofi in the main event, and they didn't butt heads or anything.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated situation with this one.
Oh yeah, because I think they wanted to somehow get Kofi out of that match, but that would obviously be a role that you'd put the heel in. But since he's still a babyface, they sort of blur.
Yeah.
But they were a babyface tag team and worked fine in the main event. Speaking of babyface tag teams on SmackDown, we had a reunion of babyface tag team, the legendary babyface tag team. Matt Hardy returned from what he called. I think he did once say he was retired, but he's not.
Nah, he never said he was retired. He never did.
Him and Jeff beat the bar on SmackDown.
I hope they finally do that. They came back now. Matt Hardy is back to normal. I hope they somehow make the storyline go into the broken, woken universe with Jeff together now. I think.
I think it's done.
Hmm?
I think we've seen the last of Woken Matt and all that.
I don't think
That's
so, because they both said they want to do it, and I think they just bringing Matt back as Woken with Jeff together wouldn't work. So bring them back together, have them. Jeff, he is a bit crazy-ish more than a few months ago. Maybe I don't know how they would do it. It's always a complicated thing, but I think they're going to do the way of Woken Universe with Matt and Jeff. And
I mean, they do have 2 years to do it because, as we know, I believe Matt's was public knowledge, but not Jeff's. But it was just assumed Jeff's a couple of days after. But they did sign 2-year new deals with an option on top to extend for an extra year at the end of that, should they want to. So they have got time. They haven't got to rush it.
I think they will do it 100% since both said they want to do it together once again before they retire, and I don't see a reason why WWE wouldn't do it.
Yeah, they probably would have still. They probably just want a team good, strong enough to face
Yep.
Because, well, speaking of WrestleMania, the main event of WrestleMania, still up in limbo currently, became even more bizarre situation on Monday Night Raw when Raw Women's Champion Ronda Rousey, she was her and Natalya against the Riot Squad, and then Becky came out and attacked her and Natalya, and Becky Lynch got arrested, blah blah blah, and Ronda came out. She called out Vince, and Stephanie came out, and she appeared to relinquish the Raw Women's title.
She didn't relinquish it. She just said this belt.
She appeared. It was implied. It was not official.
She didn't relinquish it. She just said this belt, not championship. Doesn't fit her style. It doesn't represent what she wants to represent, and that's why she laid the belt down. Championship, whatever you want to call it.
And now the situation is all up in the air because we had Charlotte on SmackDown. She said she was going to come to Raw next week and claim herself as the new Raw Women's Champion. So I'm pretty sure next week is going to be the week they finally make the triple threat official.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like what Ronda did, to be honest.
Because Charlotte has really been an afterthought now. It's still just all Ronda and Becky, which begs the question, why was she put in there in the first place?
Because Vince wanted a pure heel in the storyline, because he couldn't decide upon who takes the heat, because he didn't want Ronda get booed and he didn't want Becky to get booed, so he needed a third option and he picked Charlotte. I
like the way they added her in and what they've done with her since she was added in, but I still don't think she should have been there.
She had a promo at WrestleMania, at SmackDown.
Because it's like Twitter is just Becky and Ronda bickering back and forth, and Charlotte is just an afterthought, and she's not even doing anything.
She's there to get pinned.
You see, I'm not sure, because that's sort of a flat ending. Because that would be like...
But you see, they could do Ronda versus Becky then at the next pay-per-view, which is Backlash.
Well, Ronda is leaving after WrestleMania for a bit.
If she really does. If she doesn't decide to stay an extra month or so.
Yeah, we
But-
just shouldn't talk about her vagina, so.
Oh,
It's her vagina, goddammit.
Yeah.
you feel like we shouldn't talk about Becky's quote-unquote dick?
That
Oh.
Twitter
Very-
exchange
that's
was
obviously a very bizarre
brilliant.
situation as well. That's apparently. I just assumed Ronda is like getting sick of just being roasted all the time, so she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot brother to try and get
From the
heat
hip.
back." And it's not working because even people in WWE are getting angry at it.
Yeah,
saw, like,
because they
Boyz
don't
and someone
control it,
else.
so obviously they get angry, but it's gold, it's great.
Even the wrestlers there, I saw people like Tyler Breeze and someone else. It was were
Yeah.
like mocking it. So
But I think it's great, it just adds to the storyline, and I don't mind it, to be honest.
it's basically I did get that part of it, but it's going on Twitter and saying your opponent's finisher is fake
Well,
to
because...
hype up a fake fight.
Yeah, because that... Yeah. But it makes sense, to be honest, because... Well... It's not really an armbar like that, because...
Hurts.
I
I
actually
think
am
it hurts.
get the actual thread up right now
Yeah.
because a lot of there's been obviously it's big inside the company and like getting buzz and stuff. So I'm just gonna go to Rondo's Twitter right now and read the whole thing. I can't remember how it started. It's just
Well, it started with Ronda Rousey signing with WWE.
it's not true. Now the thread is yes, it's Becky says, Ronda, you go back to get that belt because I didn't come this far to collect it from Stephanie. I came all this way to take it from you. Ronda replied with this, saying, "That's what I'm trying to do, dumbass. You hobbling around trying to be a ginger crutch ninja and taking fake prison photos in the hallway isn't helping."
The Ginger Crutch Ninja line is definitely from Paul Heyman. That's so Heyman.
Keep that F word out of your mouth and concentrate on getting better at this business instead of trying to remain above it. Looking forward to seeing you real soon. And then this was the one that got all the heat. Ronda put F word, you mean fake? Fake like you're not BS armbar that doesn't even work and just looks like you're holding the dick you wish you had, ? And a picture of her being locked in said armbar, which she actually sold on TV. And then Becky responded with, it does look exactly like one now that you mentioned it. And somebody, don't know if it was her herself, can't imagine her sitting, having the time to do this. Her photoshopped Travis Brown, Ronda Rousey's husband, head on the end. And then Ronda says, Rebecca Quinn, shoot name, brother. I don't care what the script says. I'm going to beat the living shit out of you next time I see you. This one was my favorite of the whole bunch. Becky responded a couple of hours later saying, Ron, you still mad, bro? Just checking because you went full Russo earlier. Wanted to make sure you made it back okay.
It's great, to be honest. I don't know why people are mad about it. Like really, really mad, because it just works. It's great for the storyline. It's just them two being them, and I think it's perfect.
Went for Russo on it.
But that is a big match for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, speaking of SmackDown Women's Championship.
Just imagine Michael Cole reading this exchange on Raw next Monday.
Like all the backstage people are so mad because of it.
Yeah, they won't, but it would be so if Cole is sitting there and full Russo, and everybody from the mainstream audience will be like, huh?
Speaking of Women's Championship matches, one was made official for Fastlane this past week, and that is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, an epic rematch between the champion Asuka and challenger Mandy Rose.
Filler match.
Yeah, yes.
The whole story was evident from the week she pinned her that that was going to be used to catapult her into the title match
Yeah.
at Fastlane, and then Asuka's going to get mad at Lacey, and that's the Mania match.
Yep.
Speaking of filler women's title matches, tag team titles, Sasha and Bayley, Tamina and Nia, Fastlane, filler. Does anybody think Tamina and Nia are going to take the belts?
I'm gonna do a quick wordplay now. Instead of Tamina, it's Philmina.
Philmina.
Because she's only in filler matches.
Oh, that's because she sucks.
Yeah, true.
Speaking of women's, we've got this. That's pretty much all the actual big news that happened. It wasn't a very big week.
Yeah.
On Raw and SmackDown. We're getting into other news. We've just gone off those 2 women's title matches. I can tell you when 2 dates where women's title matches won't be taking place. Those being 1st of November and the 3rd of May, because as first reported by Fightful and now confirmed by Raja, those are the 2 dates of the next Saudi shows that we will be hosting.
I did this when we first talked about the possibility of another Saudi show, but can we please move on? I don't want to talk about politics on this stream, and that's just all it is, to be honest.
Yeah, the only thing we can mention there is that new rumors surfaced that Roman Reigns, prior to his leukemia announcements, wanted to also not be booked for these for Crown Jewel, much like John Cena and Daniel Bryan already pulled out of it, and he would be the 3rd big star. And yes, that's the only thing we can say there. And I, much like Jan, would like to move on.
Things that Dan doesn't want to talk about, the things I'm sure Dan will have opinions on. NXT UK announced 5 new signings this past week. Those were Ilja Dragunov, Yazzie Gabbett, Kaylee Ray, Oliver Carter, and Primate.
So yeah, we already probably knew that Dragunov got signed by WWE or NXT
Gabbett
UK.
as well. Gabbett as well.
Gabbett as well, because she was at NXT TakeOver UK.
Same as Kaylee Ray.
Same as Kelly Ray. I don't know or have ever seen really Oliver Carter. Don't know who that is. And Primate is famously from Defiant Wrestling, I guess. That's his big promotion he was before.
I know, that's where I know him from. I don't know what he's done before that.
I only ever know him from the old WCPW, which is now Defiant.
Yes. And well, I believe, in my personal opinion, great bunch of signees, and I'm looking forward to see all of them in the ring in WWE, especially Dragunov.
He's a great guy.
Great guy, but I have to say for Jessie Gabbett, I never thought she would actually get signed again after her injury, and she's been trying for quite some time to get to WWE. So I'm also pretty happy for her, but it's a huge surprise to me.
Yeah, I think she wasn't signed a few years ago after the first Mae Young Classic because of her injury, and I think WWE just said, "Hey, rehab this, get better. We will make tests again, and if we're happy with that, we'll sign you." I don't think with her it was a question of if she was going to get signed, just when.
I thought her last chance would have been at the Mae Young Classic. When she did I thought that was her last shot. Yeah, but I'm sure we can all say that we're looking forward to the debuts of these 5, and we look forward to seeing them in WWE ring.
At least at TV debuts, because Dragunov already made his dark match debut, but
another man I look forward to seeing back in a WWE ring is Sami Zayn, who this week, reported by Wrestling Observer, is apparently ready to return any day now.
And
that's a night after WrestleMania return, if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
Or he is going to join Daniel Bryan.
He's not going to join Daniel Bryan. I think he's going to, because they held off think it was Cesaro in 2016, Balor in 17, and Jeff Hardy last year. So
Yep.
it'll be Sami Zayn this year.
Yep.
If he goes to Raw, he'll probably pop up on SmackDown because they have no continuity with that. And that's where Kevin Owens is, and they just cannot keep those two apart.
Yep.
Speaking of injuries, I know I'm skipping some on the agenda, but it's a good segue. There was an injury scare last week we touched on with Tommaso Ciampa and Sheamus in that scary spot. This is an unrelated injury to that, but Ciampa is working injured, and that this caused the script from Raw to be changed because it was going to be DIY, Aleister Black and Ricochet and Roderick Hawkins and another team, which I would assume to be Rude and Gable, in a 4-way tag match. But that had to be changed to Revival versus Black and Ricochet due to Ciampa working with an injury. And this is going to be an interesting scenario because given what they announced on, I believe it got officially announced on NXT about the remaining players in the Dust Classic.
Well,
And
but that was taped before his injury was
Yes.
announced. I
And
think
It
maybe.
was announced, but they have obviously taped angles following it, which may have to be worked around depending on how serious this is.
Yeah. Maybe the injury. Maybe he got the injury at the taping. We don't know. I think that's the obvious thing.
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't get it in the spot with Sheamus last week where he thought he got injured. It was a completely unrelated injury to that.
Yep.
I'm sure we can all hope it's not too serious because that would be a huge loss
Yep.
to WWE. And some link about the Honky Tonk Man because it was confirmed on not Raw for some reason, only on SmackDown. That the Honky Tonk Man will be joining the Generation X in the class of 2019 Hall of Fame this year. One of the greatest. I think is he still the longest reigning IC champion?
Yes,
Yes.
by far is he the longest reigning, and he was a great heel at the time. You can't take that away from him. And the pop was huge when he finally lost the title against the Ultimate Warrior. Well, he had some well-chosen words for the Hall of Fame in the past, but I believe for some weird reason I can't explain, he now changed his mind and is now in the Hall of Fame.
There. I think I had something else I was going to say about him. No, it's completely gone from my head. I had something else I was going to say.
I just know that right before we started the stream, Dan and I discovered some new Hall of Fame rumors on Twitter. I don't know if Dan wants to share them.
Yes, according to...
I'm going to just throw out for now, in case anyone's watching, these aren't confirmed at all, so if you are sensitive to spoilers...
It's spoilers.
Or something.
Mute the stream right now, and if I wave my hand, turn the audio back on.
And I'm so nice to you. I'll also give you a count out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler alert. So, Tori Wilson and Brutus the Barber Beefcake are rumored by a tweet of WrestleVotes. They will be joining the Hall of Fame this year. Your thoughts on that?
Beefcake is another one of those guys from that era that I sort of like. That's what I was going to say earlier on about Honky. I thought he was already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, same.
A lot of those,
Same.
Sort of like they obviously all deserve a spot because they have all memorable superstars. But Beefcake's another one I thought was already in, so he obviously does get it. Tori Wilson, I guess, is the obligatory female rep for this year, which kind of surprised me because I honestly thought it was probably going to be Paige. Because of and all that.
Yeah, could have been.
And just to say she was the youngest Hall of Famer or some stuff like that, but apparently not. They go with Tori Wilson.
Yep. I think it's fine. There would have been other women that would have been better, but I'm yet not mad. So.
Well, I mean, China's already going in anyway, so.
Yeah. So if it happens now or in the next couple of years, doesn't matter to me, to be honest.
China's in anyway, so.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, I would have preferred Bull Nakano over McIntyre. McIntyre because of that tag team title thing, but maybe next year.
Velvet McIntyre, by the way, not Drew.
Yeah, Velvet McIntyre, not
In case
Drew.
people are thinking they're getting
Yep.
confused.
Drew McIntyre hasn't held the women's tag team titles yet.
Yeah. They have your eyes on them. Anyway, I believe we're done.
Yes. Spoiler over.
Anyway, announced by WWE themselves, this next coming week on SmackDown, we're going to be seeing another United States Open Challenge from R-Truth, and I no longer think he's going to drop it. I think he might hold this all the way to Mania now.
Yep.
I thought if he was going to lose it, he'd have lost it to Andrade last week.
Yep.
Oh,
And
Agreed.
they must go somewhere with John Cena.
The thing they are going to do is repeat that spot with Mysterio and Andrade, and they will just bring someone else out there, and the number will increase. And at WrestleMania, we will have many people challenging for the title.
I didn't think about that. That is, you're spot on. That's what they're gonna do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So something real quick, we're gonna take a quick break because I gotta go to the toilet. If you want to continue, fine, but I will take a quick
It depends.
break.
Do you have any big comments to say about Dana
Nope.
Warrior?
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on to that then.
Then with you two move on, I'll be back in a minute or two.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I believe it was Pro Wrestling Sheet, the newest member of WWE's creative team, following on from Bruce Pritchard's seeming success this past week. None other than the widow of Warrior, Mrs. Dana Warrior, for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, Dana was promised, much like Vicky Guerrero, after the passing of her husband, a lifetime job with WWE. She's doing charity, and from what I've heard and seen, she's doing great with that. She's like a very nice person. I don't know what experiences she might have to qualify for that creative team job. I would have preferred someone like Sarah Del Rey in that position, maybe. But you don't know if maybe Sarah is just happy to be a trainer and doesn't fit that role at all. You don't know. We don't know that.
If it was a choice of putting her in that role and taking her away from being a trainer, like she could only be one or the other, I'd rather still have her down there.
Yes, correct. And so Dana Warrior got the spot, and it's great that finally a female person is part of the creative team. Yeah. And I believe that's Bruce Pritchard's thing to do. That was one of the first things that Bruce Pritchard suggested. Now he's back.
Yeah. A lot of people moaning about it online because of who it is, but you never know. I doubt it, but she could be like a genius and have some of the best ideas ever. But you're just ruling her out. B, it's not going to matter anyway.
Yeah,
if she's not in like a Bruce Pritchard major role, she's just going to be one of the faces that Vince will overrule when he rewrites the show every 3 minutes.
Yeah, correct. But she can't do bad because the women's storylines can only improve. Apart from maybe the Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch storyline, but the rest of the women's storylines are always based around friendships and something along these lines.
And adultery.
Yeah.
Speaking of adultery, one man who I'm not sure if he's ever committed adultery or not is Mr. Nick Miller, well, formerly known as Nick Miller, now Mad Mikey Nichols. And it was announced this week he was the newest member of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
What? The size of these balls?
Yeah, man. Hey, Denny, can I not go? Can I leave because I want to go spend time with my family in Australia? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Australia's now in Japan.
I was about to say, yes, he is in New Japan now, but New Japan only does this tour schedule, so he can, after the tours, which normally are like 4 weeks, or 4 to 8 weeks mostly, I think, he can go back home, and Japan isn't that far from Australia, so I think it makes sense. I don't know why people think he screwed WWE over or something. I don't think that's the case. I just think it's, hey, he wanted to continue to wrestle. New Japan is the most logical reason if he still wants the most time with his family that is in Australia, so I think that's the reason that he's in Japan.
I mean, I always knew that him and Shane Thorne, they were good, like, wrestlers. They never really had much in the way of character. Maybe he can do like what Juice Robinson did and reinvent himself in New Japan. I wish him all the best, obviously.
Yes.
Speaking of New Japan, they have some new tag team champions in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Those being the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, the nice guy, and Tonga Loa.
Yeah, I don't really watch New Japan, but these guys are cool dudes, and I'm happy for them to be in tag team champion. To be honest, I thought they already were.
Yep, same.
I think I remember them losing it at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, they lost them to Evil and Sanada, right? Yeah.
But now they've got them back.
I didn't watch New Japan in recent months. I mostly watch the big events, so I didn't notice this title change. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. They are basically like to New Japan what the Usos are to WWE, where you just put the belts back on them just to like reset or whatever. If you've got no one else to fall back on, just give them the titles.
Yep. And with them, you can always count on them to have a good match. So.
Yeah. Speaking of good matches, there's some good matches in Impact Wrestling right now with their new roster, or not new roster, but they have managed to keep in what was sort of a big deal in this day and age. Impact signing people to a contract is kind of a big scoop, and those three people were Rosemary, Falabar, and Sami Callihan, as well as the re-signing of Madison Rayne, because she recently departed Ring of Honor due to creative difference.
Like a day or two earlier, I think.
Yes, and then she straight away went straight back to her old home.
I honestly thought with Madison Rayne she was going to NXT.
Yeah, I thought you were NXT.
With Falabar, makes sense that he resigns because he's on TV. He has a spot in a bigger wrestling company. I never heard of him anywhere else.
He's like an Impact, one of their own.
Yeah. And Sami Callihan makes sense because he has creative freedom. I don't know where else he would go.
Callihan is the guy that they're probably going to end up building around.
Yep, and Rosemary is kind of like the cornerstone of the women's division with Tessa Blanchard. Yeah, so it makes sense to resign them.
And speaking of signings, one person who won't be going to Impact or NXT is Bea Priestley, because it was announced that she signed with All Elite Wrestling.
Yep. Not surprised.
Maybe I'm not like a super conspiracy guy. Maybe just as a make way to try and get Ospreay.
Won't happen because he's still with New Japan.
I don't know how long his contract is at.
I think till beginning of next year.
I mean, yeah. Then he could leave after that contract expires.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, but from what I've seen, she's okay. She should do an alright job in that women's division at AEW, which will be showcased, presumably, in July in Jacksonville at the new event they announced, Fight for the Fallen.
Cool name, by the way. I like it.
Yeah, but it sounds like a tribute show. It sounds like a tribute show where they will honor some past disease
Yeah.
wrestlers.
Well, not only that,
No,
it's
like,
isn't that the
yeah,
event they
because-
will do for
yeah,
for gun violence victims?
Oh
and
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's why it's called Fight for the Fallen,
Yeah, same.
because they will fight and make and give their money to people.
So I'm assuming, obviously, we can't predict the card at all. We don't know the whole roster.
Well,
but
the
I'm
only
assuming
one
that-
confirmed for that event right now is B. Priestley, so
Yeah, I'm assuming we'll find out more after Double or Nothing.
Yep.
And yeah. In other news, the full bracket for the Cruiserweight tournament on 205 Live got revealed this past week. It's only 8-man. I believe that was announced, but I was under the impression it was going to be 16.
they just announced the tournament, not how much people, I
Yeah.
think.
But it was Kalisto and Tony Nese, which Tony Nese won. Gulak and Kendrick, which Gulak won. So that's a semi-final is Nese versus Gulak. And the other half of the bracket is Humberto Carrillo versus Oni Lorcan and Cedric versus Akira Tozawa.
Yeah, it looks like Humberto Carrillo is going to advance to the finals like Gulak, and they will do. They already started a feud, a storyline there. It's not the feud right now; it's a storyline more. And yeah, Humberto Carrillo will challenge Buddy Murphy at WrestleMania. But honestly, Humberto is a great wrestler, but he's not really great on the microphone. He's still really, really fresh. So I don't think he should be facing Buddy Murphy. I would rather like to see Tony Nese.
I don't think Carrillo would beat Murphy.
He won't, but I think he won't even be in that match. I think it's going to be Nese versus Murphy.
Yeah, hopefully.
I also don't see Tony Nese beating him.
I don't either, but I would
the
rather
bracket,
see Tony
I'm
Nese
pretty
versus.
sure Murphy's gonna
It's a
win.
more compelling storyline, at
Yep.
least. Yeah.
Speaking of WrestleMania, PW Insider reported this week that the expected location of WrestleMania 36 is Tampa, Florida.
That's
swear
doing
they
it
only
easy.
I swear they only go to the same, 4 states.
Yeah.
They go New York, they go California, they go Florida, then they go New Orleans.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's kind of like they put WrestleMania up for sale, and the cities or states can buy them. So
I guess
whatever
because they
state
want,
wants to pay the most money, they get it. So
yeah, I guess that they want to make it like this whole week-long special holiday thing. Because they want to give it to like the big cities, the tourist attractions.
Yep.
And yeah, so I'm going to predict WrestleMania 37 will return to California.
maybe.
Probably, maybe LA, maybe somewhere else, maybe San Jose, somewhere like that. But I'm definitely not sensing diversity from the places that they decide to host WrestleMania.
That's true.
Their biggest show of the year.
That is true. But I don't. To be honest, it's always with WrestleMania. I don't think it matters in which city it's in, because fans from all over the world come together there, so it doesn't really matter in which town they are. So
I think like Vince would be like, nobody's gonna want to go to. I see Minnesota a lot.
yeah.
There's a big stadium in there. Like it's not really a touristy kind of city,
Yep.
from what I'm aware. So they're not going to bring the biggest show of the year to Minnesota. Speaking of biggest shows of the year,
Detroit, Michigan.
I've got one more thing left on my agenda here, and I'm going to close down and hand over to young Daniel, who
but I have to interrupt you there because you forgot something. You forgot to talk about some brackets.
Did he? Oh yeah,
No,
the Dusty Rhodes tag team. Well, we talked about that with the Ciampa injury.
Yes,
but
yes,
we didn't.
we
Didn't talk about the full brackets. If anyone.
So yeah, the last 4 teams I think were DIY.
I make the picture big on screen right now, so everyone can see.
Mustache Mountain, Ricochet, and Aleister Black.
So we have Mustache Mountain versus. Yep.
Yeah.
So
there's
that's
for
the
8 teams.
bracket before the match, before the first round matches.
So there's the Aleister Black and Ricochet only seem to be the only filler in there, and the rest of the teams is like pretty great. So I'm very much looking forward to these teams colliding. I would love if Fabian Aichner and Marcel Barthé could do it, or Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, but it's probably going to be DIY.
It's sad that I already know the results, so
I know the final, yeah.
yeah, I do too. So
I'm left on.
So
I
I
don't
can't make
need
a prediction.
spoilers, so
If I didn't know, I'm going to take myself back to a young Connor who didn't know the spoilers and just knew the 8 teams, and he would have said DIY.
yep.
okay.
Anyway, hopefully young Daniel doesn't do exactly what it says on my agenda here, but I'll hand over to him.
Yeah, because we were talking about tournaments, and we're gonna stick with tournaments, because in 1 week's time, starting on Friday, March 8th, we're going to have the 16 karat gold tournament of 2019, the biggest tournament, the biggest wrestling tournament in Europe. And a lot of stars are going to be there, and a lot of great wrestling matches are there to be held in Oberhausen. And lots of people are going to be there. So on Friday, the event starts, or on Thursday, much better said. The event starts with Inner Circle in Essen, which is at the WXW Wrestling Academy, their training facility. And they're going to have some stars there, like Ilya Dragunov and Mark Davis from Aussie Open. And Walter is obviously also going to be there, and they showcase kind of like their next generation of wrestling. And then the proper 16 karat gold weekend starts on Friday with the podcast marathon, where Matthew from WrestleMania is going to be, and like other podcasts like Robert Weisgas and Shooter Schultz, which is a referee in WXW, which do their podcast Blown Up. And there will be several other podcasts are also going to be there, and they will just do like a podcast rally of sorts. And then the first night of 16 karat gold starts actually a little bit later, and it's going to kick off with a warm-up match to find an alternative. If someone in the tournament itself gets injured, we are going to have an alternative there that is going to replace said injured star. So we have Julian Pace in there, who wrestled at last year's alternate 4-way. He is a great guy. He's been like 1.5 years. He's been on WXW's main roster now, and he's progressed quite great. He's now leaving the WXW Academy for good, so he can focus on his singles career, and he's now taking international bookings, and he has, in my opinion, great chances to win that. But there's also Veit Müller, who had a great match against Walter a couple of days ago, and he will probably have a great showing inside the match. He might even win it, and there's also rumors that he might join Ringkampf. The other two participants in the match are, let's see, oh my god. The other two participants are Leon van Gerwen. I've never seen this guy wrestle before. Maybe Jan, you have, but I'm pretty unfamiliar to him. And the fourth guy, I have to actually live Google him, because I'm also pretty unfamiliar with him. Let's see. Thankfully, that's the only one I have to Google, because I can tell you something about everyone, but he is like, where do we have him? Where is he? So there he is. So it's Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open. Oh, okay, it's him. Kyle Fletcher from Aussie Open. So the other half of Aussie Open, he is also going to be in that 4-way warm-up match. And one of them will actually be part of the 16 karat gold tournament if someone else gets injured or pulled from the show for whatever reason. So moving on to the actual tournament. The 16 karat gold event is a 3-day tournament, and on night 1 we are going to have 8 matches with 16 competitors, and it's singles elimination, so if you lose you are out. And the first round actually is starting with a bang, because one of the first matches announced is David Starr facing Walter for, I don't know how many times they've been facing before. So
two people I've heard of.
Yeah, David Starr is probably best known for his work in RevPro and PWG and Defiant, and he's also a huge part of WXW as a babyface, and I believe he's never been a heel in WXW, and he's also never beaten Walter. So in the first round, it's like the WXW released a great promo video package. It's going to be a tough match because Walter says it's going to be an easy victory, and he doesn't know why Starr, because Starr actually had the option to pick his opponent for 16 karat, why he picked Walter again. And Starr is like really in this must-win situation. He's kind of, there's a curse on David Starr, it seems, because he can't win a big title in every promotion he goes. He is the current British cruiserweight champion in RevPro, but that's not their main title either. And he's really must win that match, but it kind of seems that Walter will be winning anyway, because there's a potential great storyline for 16 karat gold, a bigger picture, so to say, I will address later. The next match in the first round of 16 karat is going to be the Avalanche. Robert Greiska, who I mentioned earlier, has that blown up podcast, and Jörn Simmons, who is a big, huge, mean Dutch man. And they have kind of a feud developing in WXW, and so their match will be false count anywhere, actually. And the next match on the card is Shigehiro Iri, who is from Noah, and who has had quite a rivalry with Bobby Guns in the last few months on WXW. And he's taking on Chris Brooks, famously known from CCK. And that's that match, probably going to be an absolute slower knuckle. And the next match is Ray Horus, who is very unfamiliar to me, facing Ray Phoenix from Impact Wrestling. And talking about people from Impact Wrestling, the next match in the first round is Pentagon Jr., the brother of Ray Phoenix, taking on Mark Davis, the other half of Aussie Open. So the next match, the sixth match on the card, is Lucky Kid versus Timothy Thatcher. Thatcher, probably known by most people, is part of Ring Kampf with Walter and Marcel Bartel, also known as Axel Dieter Jr. And he is one of the favorites to go in, but Lucky Kid is also one of the favorites to win the whole thing. And Lucky Kid is one of the guys that is rumored to be heavily pushed in 2019. And this match is therefore pretty interesting. But for the bigger picture, it would be necessary that Timothy Thatcher would win the 16 karat gold tournament, because WWE has, or WWE not, but WXW have released a promo package which kind of teases a break away from Timothy Thatcher from Ring Kampf. And he said he's not going to be the one who gave in. So in other words, he won't sign with WWE or AEW or any big promotion. He will stick with his game, with his mindset. And well, Walter moved on, Marcel Bartel moved on, and Timothy Thatcher will probably not move on, and he will now try to create his own path of destruction. And therefore, he needs to get rid of everyone and win the 16 karat gold tournament. So, moving on to the last and final Ring Kampf member in that tournament, Marcel Bartel of NXT and NXT UK fame is returning to WXW to win the tournament he never won, because 16 karat is going on since 2006 actually, and He's been there for a long time, but he never won 16 karat. He wants to change it this year and asked WWE, and they said, yes, man, you can go. And WXW said, yes, but you are going to face our WXW Shotgun champion, which is the mid-card title in WXW, Marius Al-Ani. And that's going to be that match. And last but certainly not least, probably the hardest hitting match of the tournament. Brutal scenes are going to be seen next weekend when Ilya Dragunov, signed by WWE, just recently is taking on Daisuke Sekimoto in probably, a very hard-hitting match. So
we know he was signed by WWE. We did talk about that.
Yes, I know. So that's day one. That's the tournament. That's all the matches we know. And I can take it right now. The WXW Tag Team titles are not announced yet, but I can't believe on the biggest show all year that WXW is doing, they will going to be featured somehow. The WXW Tag Team champions are Rise, Pete Bouncer, and Ivan Kiev, and they are also partners with Lucky Kid. So, and Lucky Kid is a baby face, but maybe they try to help him in their match still. But I believe they will be featured, or the tag team title match will be announced somewhere this week. What is announced for day two? The world title match is announced for day two because the WXW Unified World Wrestling Champion, Absolute Andy, who is a long mainstay in WXW and is one of the legends. I guess you can call him that in German wrestling. Absolute Andy. He will be taking on the King of Smoke style, Bobby Guns, in quite a rivalry they had before, and that will be probably the main event of day two. And day two will also feature two different shows. It will be the Ambition tournament, which is basically a shoot fight tournament during the day two. And some of these names are in there are actually Timothy Thatcher, but also Yuki Ishikawa and Chris Ridgway is going to be there, and actually White Miller also, and WXW English announcer Rico Bushido is also having a match in that Ambition tournament. And also the same day we have Wrestling Deutschland, which is happening for the second time after making its debut last year. Which is not a tournament, but it's a show for other German promotions to showcase their talents. Like, for example, Next Step Wrestling or Wrestling Code are going to be there with their stars. And moving on to day three, after the after show party that rounds out day two, we are going to start day three with a fan expo where you can also get signs and pictures with your favorite WXW and international wrestlers, and but you also will have the chance doing breaks and at the start and at the ending of the show to do that. But the fan expo is like longer time.
It's an extra event for
extra event where you can do and get into some. And I've also have great talks with the wrestlers there, and I'm going to be there, so come and say hi if you're actually at the event. And after the fan expo, we will get the finals of 16 karat, obviously, and I believe we are also getting the semi-finals on there. And then there will also be the WXW Women's Championship match, which is Toni Storm versus Killer Kelly, who are both somehow baby faces, but it feels like Toni Storm is actually turning into a heel direction here, and they will be having an NXT UK clash right there. And that's the WXW 16 karat gold event, and it's going to be probably it's already one of the biggest events WXW has ever done.
Connel, please don't die.
with over 3,000 tickets sold over the course of the 3 days or 4 days, and it's going to be absolutely epic. And with the exception of Inner Circle and the bowling event, actually on day one, I'm going to be at every single thing they are going to do. And like I said, Matthew from WrestleMania is also going to be there. Lots of German and British and various people from other countries are going to be there. And you have the chance to meet so many guys. And well, that was my monologue to 16 karat gold. And that's the reason I'm not going to be on the stream next week because weekends. Because
give people a chance to prepare for your absence. Unlike somebody you may have missed this week, who told us he wouldn't be here about an hour before we started.
And that's 16 karat gold, and I'm sure Connel not so much because he doesn't know many guys on that show, but I'm sure Jan has a few words to share with us about the event.
I think looking especially about the tournament, not so much the other events, but with the tournament it's an interesting one because in my eyes there are 4 people that this year that could win it, which are Marcel Bartel, Timothy Thatcher, David Starr and Lucky Kid, which are my 4 main picks. And my main pick to win it is the least favorite of them in eyes of the fans, but I think David Starr is going to win this. Just I don't know why, but I like him. I think it's time for him to win that major thing in WXW, and I think it's the time right now, especially with the Walter story and his story not being able to win big matches. But that's really all I have to say about the event.
Yeah, my prediction, and I really hope that is going to be the finals are going to be Walter versus Thatcher and Walter, and Thatcher on both sides are kindly mauling down the storyline they had, like Walter's beating Chris Brooks, who's been involved in the storyline, and Thatcher's beating Marcel Bartel, and then we will and Walter will also be beating Robert Dreisker because they had a tag team in the past, and they will just take down everyone they faced in the past and had angles with, and then will both emerge as the finalists of that tournament. And Thatcher has never been able to beat Walter, and this time, because he has to win that, he will beat the big ring general and will stand tall at the end of the night. Timothy Thatcher, and the crowd will go just crazy, and that's my prediction. Because he's the guy who has not given in.
True.
I would assume they'd give it to one of their own guys and not NXT UK guy.
Yep.
For what it's worth.
Fair enough. But something else I can mention now that it's basically confirmed, nothing in regards to the event, but Dan mentioned a few minutes ago Matthew from Botchamania. He is, I don't know if he cuts the videos or if he just the person that coordinates them all. He has or owns a web series called Botchamania, which I think comes out weekly or every 2 weeks or something like that.
Once a month.
Once a month, okay. Where the best botches of this month are compiled into a compilation.
I don't want to cut you off, but I'm assuming anyone who knows who we are knows what Botchamania is.
Yeah, just for maybe. But we can confirm that reaction videos to these Botchamania videos will be coming to the channel soon. I asked Matthew on Twitter if he's okay with that, and he agreed. He said, yes, we can do it, go ahead. So that will come in the future. So new content on the channel.
Yes. And we will get sued. No, I'm just kidding.
Hopefully not.
Matthew will change his mind and be like, nah.
I will probably, if I don't forget it, and I probably won't, I will talk to Matthew with him because Matthew quite famously thinks that I'm his clone. And he just today he addressed it once again on Twitter. And he is very much looking forward to meet me, and I am very much forward to meet him. And he will probably be the first one I talk to.
You gotta try to get him to record an intro for us.
Yeah.
Yes.
A Botchamania style intro for us.
Yes.
Yeah, botching Watchamania.
You are visioning wrestle.
I just wanted to say something, but do we want to tease who we get an intro from in a few weeks? Or
No.
will that be a surprise?
Yeah, that will be a surprise.
I wanted to say it then, but no, we're not talking about that.
Great.
No, but you have to watch every WrestleVision video, and maybe have to watch it twice, so you won't miss it. So that's your homework. Watch every WrestleVision video twice, especially the large live stream videos, and you will maybe see a big cameo there. So
that's. Well, I think the stream will be a bit shorter this week, or is a bit shorter. I don't know. Do you guys have anything else to say, or?
No, I don't think so.
No, I just say have a nice rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Yep. Bye.